I bought a van. So yeah, I bought a van. It's a 2014 Ford Transit Connect, which is long wheelbase. So it is smaller than most of the vans that people convert, but it is like a tall minivan, basically. And that's kind of what I was looking for. So I have a lot of plans for this van. You can see that I've done a bunch of road trips over the last couple of years in my 2018 Miata, which is right here. I'm getting rid of it, and it's been great. I love it, and I will keep doing it. But there's a few things about it that are a little difficult to do road trips in, as you can imagine. Obviously, size being one of them. But that hasn't really slowed me down, literally and figuratively. But it does mean that there's no kind of wiggle room. There's no margin for error. There's no spare tire. That's just how it's designed. I certainly can't sleep in it. So most of the last trip that I did, I couldn't actually do a lot of camping because it was just too cold. I was up in the Rockies. I'd kind of keep moving north, and it was the spring, and it was a lot of hotels, which gets very expensive. So what I was hoping to do with the van is make something that's a little more comfortable when the weather's not great. This is not going to be a 12-month van. I am definitely not going to be doing like, the desert in the summer or Alaska in the winter or anything like that in the van. At least that's not the plan at the moment. This is more of a tent replacement. A little more comfortable than a tent. And because I'm lazy, more importantly, I don't have to set it up every day. And that was another big thing where I've been driving for 6 hours. Do I really want to spend a half an hour setting up a tent and then setting up the cookware so that I can then eat, and all of a sudden it's like, it's a whole thing. And that's fine. Some people like doing that. That's cool. I kind of got to the point where I was much rather just stay in a hotel, like arrive someplace, take a nap, whatever. So this is somewhere in between that. So the plan is that this seat is actually going to come out completely, and this bench here is a 60-40 split. The 60% is going to come out as well. So that's all this space and this space here. This seat I'm going to keep for passengers in the future. I have a bunch of friends, who were very excited about coming to visit, and a lot of them it's a couple. So one of them can sit up front, one of them will sit here, easy peasy. But that still leaves all of this space back here and all of this space here. So what am I going to add to this van to make it more livable? It's funny. It's not that warm out, but the sun is beaming in on the huge windshield and coming in through this, which actually looking at the thing you can't actually see. There's basically a full roof sunroof here, which I'll get to in a minute. That's the main reason I bought this van. So the plan is I'm gonna put in a bunch of power, solar power. That will run a little refrigerator, and for like a cook plate or a rice cooker or a kettle. I mean, once you have power, there's kind of all these possibilities. My plan for the power is actually to go kind of more than I would strictly need. Judging from what I want to run and how I'm doing it, most likely I would only need one solar panel, one battery, and a fairly small converter. My concern with all of that is I'd rather have more power than I need, and then just not use it, than constantly be kind of under, like always worried about my next charge. So the cost difference between doing 100 watts versus 200 watts is marginal. The solar panels are actually really cheap. The batteries are a huge cost, and so adding a second battery was actually fairly expensive. But kind of like I'd rather set it up now and then not need it. The inverter, I got a bigger inverter than I truly needed, or probably will need, because it's if I wanted to do a cook plate or a rice cooker, you kind of need a good inverter. And, well, let's talk about the next step, the two other pieces. You'll see all this stuff in a later video, but I figured I'll explain it all now. So the other aspect is you're not always going to have solar power. Obviously, it's not always sunny. So that's the battery pack. I've bought two devices that should help in the case of not having power or not having sun for a couple days. The first is what's called a DC to DC charger that will let the batteries get charged via the alternator, and this specific model of Transit Connect has a beefy 150 amp alternator. And then the other is the inverter that I bought. So an inverter converts the DC power that's in the batteries to AC power, which is what runs anything in the home. So the rice cooker I mentioned, kettle or whatever, anything that you plug into a normal wall outlet in a house, that runs off the inverter. The specific inverter that I bought also lets you run, it's called shore power. So I could basically just run an extension cord to someone's house, or most campsites have power outlets. Just run that charges the batteries too. So, as I said, kind of overkill for what I really need to do, but I kind of wanted to just do it kind of right the first time, and then even if I'm not using all of those things all the time, that seems better than like, oh man, I wish I had this, especially since I'm going to start mounting this stuff back here. I'd rather just do it the right way first than having to kind of pull it all out, redo it with different pieces of equipment. So that's the power situation. Behind the driver's seat, I'm going to be putting a small little refrigerator, which I purchased, and it just got lost in transit, so I'm waiting for a refund on that, and for them to get back in stock. Whatever. By the time you see me put it in, it's obviously will have arrived. So that probably leads you to the next question is, with all of that, where am I going to sleep? So, as you can see right now, the seats fold down. This seat is staying in here because I wanted a place to sit and do work, obviously, if I'm on the road. And sitting in the driver's seat, the passenger seat just seemed really constrictive. So if I have this seat and a little table thing, which is another part that I'm going to have to, it's in my head, but I need to kind of design it. I'll be able to sit back here, do work, have power, have whatever, have the fans going and so forth. This will fold down, and then I'm going to have some sort of maybe particle board or something like that. With foam on top, maybe a couple inches of foam, that will store back here during the day, and then I can stretch it. I can, maybe fold it out or something. I haven't quite figured out the mechanism of it, but it'll all fit. And then I'll have like this little bed aspect here. Ideally, what my plan is if that works, then in theory I could do it here as well. And so I'll have, let's say, 4 pieces of that foam, and then the whole thing will be a bed. So that brings me to the main reason why I bought this van. It's a great van too. Like, these were based on the chassis of it is the Ford Transit Connect work van. Usually when you see these things on the road, there's no windows back here. And there's a billion of these things, and have been for years, just plumbers and electricians and anybody who needs to haul stuff around for their job. Most of them are driving Transit Connects all over the world. So, and it's smaller than the Ford Transit, which is the big work utility van, like what Amazon would have. That's more of a transit van. This is the Transit Connect, which is built on the European Focus platform. To give you an idea, the length of it is like an SUV. It's just taller. So anyway, the Transit Connect has this sunroof that goes. It's like 2/3 of the length of the roof. And my idea was, you'd be able to lie down in the back of the van and look up through this sunroof, look at the stars, whatever. So it all should fit fine. Basically, the 2 solar panels should fit from the end of this window to the back of the van. I will wire all of that stuff down through back here to where the power all is sitting. Fridge is up there, and then like I said, the table aspect, haven't quite figured out how I'm gonna do that yet. It might be something as simple as just kind of building a little table and just having it back here. I'm kind of hoping to find something that's like what you'd find in an RV or a boat that kind of moves around. Unfortunately, all the ones that I've found on online so far mount for some reason vertically, and there's no vertical in here. It's just plastic. I don't know, maybe I could just stick it in this pocket and call it a day. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, that's the plan for the van. I've kind of rambled on here for a while. What does that say? Ooh, wow, 16 minutes. I hope you're still watching. Another thing that I found, this is kind of, what am I going to do with the videos kind of stuff. So if you've gone through my channel, you've seen that I'm pretty slow at uploading videos. Because it takes me a long time to edit them and put them all together. My hope is, and what I've found from doing the videos for 2 years basically, well, timeline is 2 years. You've seen them probably more like last year and then a few months of this year. But anyway, my hope is, or to say, what I've found is, one of the things that takes me a long time with the videos is writing and recording the voiceovers. And I liked that aspect of the videos before, but it's so time consuming. It's a lot faster to just do this, where I'm just kind of just thinking off the cuff and, you know, it's cutting it all together. I mean, it's YouTube, it doesn't need to be, I'm sorry, no, of course it needs to be perfect. But it's fairly acceptable on YouTube to do these random cuts where you're moving around. So I'm gonna do more of that, talking to the camera. It feels a little weird, especially right now, because the lens that I'm using is a very wide angle lens and it's huge. So it's kind of like staring and talking to Hal. Hey, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll call the camera Hal, and that'll be my thing about how to talk to the camera. So anyway, that's my plan. I wanted to do this video now so you can kind of see the inside of it basically as I bought it. And I'll do more about kind of the other parts of the van and stuff as I go. But the first step, and what will be in the next video, is figuring out the power thing. That's all very new to me. And I have what I think is maybe almost all the pieces that I need. I know there's some cables running to the front and the sides and stuff that I don't quite have yet. I'm gonna set all that stuff up and connect it all up and get it working, or making sure it works. And then once I have that, then I can start, okay, this piece goes here, this piece goes here, and that kind of thing. So that's it. Hashtag van life, and that's my plan. I haven't quite decided what my first trip in the van will be, and kind of thinking ahead. But yeah, I'm really excited, and so far, like, this was quite the find. I got a good deal on it. It is immaculate for a 2014. There's a few scuffs and stuff, but it's in great shape. And it drives great, which is kind of surprising, actually. You'd think coming from the Miata that this would feel like a tank, but it actually feels like it's a nice little van. Anyway, now I'm just babbling. Thanks for watching. I will hopefully upload the next video fairly soon, and you can start seeing me hopefully not get electrocuted on the 2,400 watts worth of batteries and 200 watts of solar panels that I bought. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Oh, like, subscribe, and all that. I know every YouTuber says it. There's a reason. Basically, if you just put a video out there and people don't do that stuff, then YouTube is just like, well, no one liked this video, and just, you know, it goes into the abyss. So yeah, if you can do that, that'd be great. Thanks, and yeah, see you next time.